good Lord. The discourse following last night's game is crazy. And I might be getting drummed up into the kind of the rage that the mob online is inciting. It does feel like a little bit like we're being gaslit, right? If you say, hey, this doesn't feel right, it feels like the calls are going in the opponent's favor way more than it goes in the favor of the Montreal Canadiens. The entire rest of the league, their fan base is like, it happens to us too. Well, where's the receipts? How come we're not seeing any of this in highlights? And when I watch the games, it doesn't seem that way. Like, it has to be blatant, right? Like, they're getting phantom calls. Does your team get phantom calls? I'm not seeing it. High sticking calls. Your player gets hit in the face with a stick. Do they draw a penalty? Often on Montreal, that doesn't happen. Do the officials call the team for a penalty earlier in the game and then not for their opponents later in the game? That happens to Montreal all the time. I can't get past that we're told we're the only fan base in the NHL that complains this much about things and that it's not valid. I know that Montreal has a passionate fan base. I know that we care more about hockey in this market than a lot of the other teams, but it just doesn't pass the smell test. Let's have a chat about this. Let's talk a little bit more pragmatically. I'm going to lay out what I think about the officials, what I think is going on. So let's talk about it. There's a reoccurring narrative in Habs hockey. Bad calls, missed calls, phantom penalties, referees having to apologize to Habs players for making the wrong call. Some fans call it frustrating. Some fans call it paranoia. But when these incidents keep happening over and over and over again, every single game, there's only one question left to ask. Is it bad luck or is it something more? Let's set the stage here. On January 27, 2026, a referee actually had to apologize to Cole Caulfield during a game after giving him a phantom hook that never should have been called in the first place. That wasn't post-game, that was mid-match. Referee approached Caulfield, acknowledged that he was wrong, and they both went on their way. Pretty rare occurrence, except the same thing had just happened a few games earlier to Lane Hudson. Another penalty that simply just should never have been called at all. So credit where credit is due. It's one thing to disagree with a judgment. It's another thing for officials to openly admit that they were wrong. I actually kind of respect that. In a perfect world, I think the referee shouldn't make the call unless they are completely sure of it. I also think that if they made the call and they thought they were sure of it but were wrong, a review team could phone down to ice level, tell the referee they got the call wrong, and then flip it. What would it take for something like that to happen? Who knows? That's probably something that has to be figured out in some sort of a bargaining agreement. Either way, those are just two examples of what the Habs have been dealing with recently. But there has been a trend. Look at a recent stat tossed around social media. The Canadiens have reportedly received significantly more penalties than they earn, an imbalance of nearly 12% more against them than in their favor dating back into last season. The spike isn't just a one-off. That's a season after season imbalance. Fans even did their own breakdown of power play rates before and after an infamous media scrum and found that the Canadiens saw roughly 70% more penalty disadvantage after that point than before it. Another component of this is the frustration isn't just showing in the fan base, it's also showing on the team. Members of the organization have spoken up.
Honestly, I'm still trying to figure that out. I think refs kind of took over the game there, and kudos to them for winning it.
So Caulfield said that. Meanwhile, Claude Julien, former Canadiens head coach, was fined $10,000 by the NHL for publicly calling a crew's performance embarrassing after multiple missed calls. But Caulfield was vocal about it, Gallagher was vocal about it, and even Martin St. Louis was vocal about it, saying that he liked their game, he just didn't want to talk about the referees. Let's be clear. Nobody has ever proven that there's some secret bias or conspiracy. NHL referees want to do their jobs well. If they do their jobs poorly, it's probably going to reflect in their performance. It's a job, after all. I think when they admit to players and the bench that they've made a mistake, it's honest. And you want to have some sort of peace of mind that if the referees were tampering with the game purposefully for whatever reason, bribes or betting or something like that, the league would be super on top of that, right? I'm still hanging on to that because if it wasn't taken very, very seriously, the league could see huge repercussions. But still, there's a part of me at this point saying it's happening too often to be a coincidence. I'm watching the other teams. I'm watching the highlights. I'm watching other games. What happens to the Montreal Canadiens does not happen to other teams. Not in this frequency. So I understand, I commiserate with other fans, especially in this community, about how often the Montreal Canadiens are penalized and how often they go without the proper call. It would be really nice if a representative from the league said, hey, we looked into it, we found that there's no corruption, there's no funny business going on here. Just for peace of mind and to put the referees on check, demonstrating that they are watching and demonstrating that they want an even playing field for all teams. That's why I've always pushed for the idea of the NHL adopting a referee scorecard system, similar to what the MLB does with umpires. Make officiating almost a sport within the sport. We're constantly talking about how fast the game is now. Maybe we also need officials who are evaluated for keeping up with that speed. Track consistency, track accuracy, track positioning. Have the data collected by an impartial watchdog, whether that's an independent body or a league-run entity with some real transparency. And yeah, just me saying this probably sets off alarm bells in Gary Bettman's office, because something like this probably wouldn't be cheap to implement. But if it improves the trust in officiating and the integrity of the game, I think that's money well spent. In the end, I'm suspicious, but I still maintain that there isn't some sort of personal vendetta. There isn't something slimy going on. Maybe the Canadiens just aren't good at the political game within the game. Maybe they aren't going into the official's ear between plays. Hey, you missed that. Kapanen cross-checked me right between the shoulder blades. How come you didn't see that? And maybe then the ref is like, okay, I'll keep an eye on him. Or maybe there is some sort of an internal bias that has been built up because the Montreal Canadiens have been pretty vocal about the officiating they've been getting. Still, like I said, it's a job. They want to do well at their jobs. I hesitate to say that they're purposefully trying to do their jobs poorly. But let me know what you think. That's going to do it from you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you thought that was fun. I like doing these videos every once in a while. More scripted bite at what's going on for the Canadiens. I've got things in the work, by the way, in the background. I'm also going to do a members video very soon. I was going to make this a members video, but I thought that this was pretty broad reaching and I wanted to kind of get it out to everyone. For the members video, I'll probably do something like more community related and maybe something more fun. Let me know if you have any suggestions. That's going to do it for me, guys. Like the video, it helps me out with search results or something probably. Subscribe if you're not already subscribed. I'd love to have you. And as always, I will see you down in the comments.